Right, prop the mic, PTM. What's up, Tim? Just you and me again today, the Tim and Tom show. Dave remains on hiatus, but I have a sneaking suspicion we'll see him back for the Big Friday podcast. Today's podcast does feel like a little bit of, I don't know, we're playing with fire with what's going on between the matchup we have with the Jets and the Pats on a Thursday night, but we'll get there in a minute. Before we get started, today's podcast, as always, presented by Props.cash. We've teamed up with Props.cash once again this season because, like we always say, we 100% cannot do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. And come join us in the PTM Discord. All the picks are out over there. We got the chats going on, NFL, WNBA, college football, baseball. We got it all. You can use the same. Yeah, you can use the same PTM discount code for 25% off. Tim, are you as nervous as I am for picking some spots for this upcoming Thursday night football game?
No, because
Okay, good. All right, let's hear it.
I had two things unrelated. One, I sent Champions League is on us, and for those of you who are soccer fans or future soccer fans, which is most of our Discord, sorry, that's my second complaint. Champions League started, which is the best of all leagues, and they play each other, and it's in the afternoon. It's the best little appetizer during the middle of the day, and I just put out a smack for that. Those late games start soon, so get in there and get that. One thing before we talk about why I'm not worried about it, FanDuel. I can get on my computer and you get on FanDuel, but when I put a pick in, I'm trying to send the link. So, because if you're in our Discord, we send the link so you can just click it. Saves you a ton of time. Because I know you all so lazy. But why can you do it from your phone, but you can't do it from the desktop? Like I have to log out of my desktop, then I get on my phone, then I log into my phone, and then I do it, and then I log back out, and then it says hold the thing down to prove you're not a bot. You know what I'm saying? Just
yeah.
I don't know if you have an answer for it. I just wanted to complain a little bit.
Yeah, that's a valid complaint. I agree.
But the reason I'm not worried about this Thursday night game is because I love it when we have one game to focus on. I think that I get overwhelmed by the big slates of the NFL, and I tend to miss little things. And we have a no sweat, which we're definitely going to smack. So I understand your fear, but I think we got this one. I'm very excited.
All right. I mean, part of the fear, as a Jets fan, I have some fear. Thursday night games in general are just, I don't know. They just never go as we'd like them to go, right? They always seem to be a little wonky, a little weird. Now we got 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Jacoby Brissett is no spring chicken himself, both playing on short rest. So that leads me to a little bit of concern. But there are some trends. So the model is starting to shape up. I'm looking at it right over here. We got 2 weeks in the books, so we can start to see some trends that maybe we can take advantage of. Was there a play you really liked that you want to start at? We could talk about a position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Where's your head at?
So you know how I've been really into quarterback rushing props, which started really strong. Had a little bit of a dip in this last one with Derek Carr just absolutely annihilating Dallas and rushing for a touchdown, but not hitting 2 yards, which was insane. Do we feel like there's any sort of I just don't think that the quarterback, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, they have him at 11.5. I know he's covered it once when playing them, and he's got 10 the last time they faced. Is he going to be running at all, or is Ramondre Stevenson just going to get everything? Aaron Rodgers is 2.5. I don't think he's going to be moving at all. He's still, I mean, he hasn't had anything going as far as the legs recently. Yeah. Is there anything here that's sneaky, or am I forcing it by when I started here? I think I know the answer.
Let's see. Jets have allowed, it's not great, only averaging 3 rush attempts by quarterbacks per game. Though the rush yards are not bad, 24 rushing yards on average for quarterbacks. So the yards per attempt is pretty good. That's in the upper, that's ranked 6th overall. So I don't know. Let's see what's Brissett done through the first couple games, rush attempts. Look at that Cincinnati game. 7 attempts.
That's what's bringing it up. I think he'd really be around like a 6.5 or a 7.5 if he didn't have those 32 yards. Last season he did it a bunch, 22 did it a bunch, but the comps are not good. I'll probably stay away from it. I just wanted to find maybe something quarterback sneaky, but I think I'll probably look to the air and like that model we shared with the running back receptions. That's been really, really good.
Yes.
In the last few games, and I know we got to all hoops.
Let's go there.
I want to hear what you
because one of the matchups I like is so the Jets actually have allowed the 6th most running back receptions per target. Running back receiving yards per target at 8.8. A lot of that has to do with early in the season, only 2 games worth of data. Tony Pollard had 40 receiving yards. So that's dragging up that average. That's why it's so high. But they're allowing 6 targets and 5 receptions per game to running backs through the first 2 games of the season. Compare that to the 2 teams that the Patriots have faced already. First week, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's allowed 3 receiving yards per target. That's 4th fewest in the league. And then last week, Seattle, they've only allowed 1.6 receiving yards per target to running backs. That's the fewest in the league. So seems like on paper 2 tough matchups. Now they get the Jets, who are allowing the 6th most receiving yards per target. So if we look at Ramondre here, you can see he had, let's go last 5, 3 targets week 1, 5 targets week 2. So targets are going up. He was 3 for 3 catching the ball in week 1, 2 for 5 in week 2. So I do like that. If you look at him, I thought this was interesting. Let's just click all and just go up to 3 targets, right? He had 3 targets week 1, 5 targets week 2. Look at this. If you want to alt that down to 2 receptions, which you can get, I believe, for like -400, that seems like a very nice leg to a builder. I think it's even good at 2.5. There you're paying, that's his straight line, 2.5. And you can see here it's, paying some juice here, -154 on FanDuel. I think that's probably where I'd go with him, though, with the Jets allowing so many receiving yards per target. Although, like I said, kind of based on that Tony Pollard performance. Let's take a look at him with 3 targets, receiving yards. Oh, it's moving. You can still get it for 14.5 on FanDuel. Not great. 4 targets probably gets a little bit better, but I don't know. What were your thoughts on Ramondre?
I'm curious about him. He's not in anything that is like a trigger pull for me yet. You know how we should pat ourselves on the back. Our alts for Monday night were pretty spot on. You know what I mean? Like, we said after the show, we had that really long list. He doesn't make the list yet. If anything, I'd like him to score a touchdown if they got close and weren't able, because he could pound it in. I do have some people though on the other side of the ball that I love. If we want to move away from running backs, unless you've got more on running backs.
No, not really. I do want to, if we do want to pat ourselves on the back, that list we gave out went 11-3 on all those alts, those alt builder menu pieces, and menu options we gave out. So.
And Saquon scored once and was taken back and then dropped an open touchdown. So I will take the L on the anytime Saquon touchdown that I guaranteed. However, I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but it's definitely a valid excuse. He was in the end zone. They called it back, quarterback sneak, and then he dropped that wide open one, which was wonderful as a Giants fan to watch that happen. I love him, but watch that happen and then watch them drive down. Anyways. So we did really well there. I think that I found the sneakiest play here. I think I have two of them. I think Hunter Henry, we talked about, I love tight ends. We talked about the Patriots' usage of the tight end on the last show, and I said they're going to go to I didn't think they were going to go to Hunter Henry 14 times, but they did. I think he's going to have another look at that yardage out of him, and then look at his receptions and his targets. It was absolutely insane. All we needed was Austin Hooper to get 10.5 yards. He had 1 target, 1 reception, and 5 yards. But they target the tight end. I think they're going to run that 12 again. I think his snap count's going to be insane. I think him and Mike Gesicki are both going to keep that production up. But between him and Mike Williams, I think we can build the easiest builder of all time, like a 3 receptions, maybe 2 plus or 3 plus with Hunter Henry. Mike Williams over 1.5. He only played like 12% in that first game. His usage shot up in this one. I think they're easing him back in. He had 1 reception for 19 yards. I'd stay away from yardage. I think he's going to get 2 balls in this game. Obviously, you got to ignore the 7s and the 8s from before with his snap count. But look at where he's getting back on the field. So I think they were just easing him in. So his 1.5 at minus like 160 is a wonderful builder leg for me.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant just because getting burned week 1, we were so high on Mike Williams, and I don't even think he saw the field. But I think you're probably right. I think I think they were easing him back in, and you'll see those snap percentages start to tick up here. So I do like that leg, especially when you look at New England's defense. They've allowed to wide receivers the 3rd most targets, the 2nd most catchable targets, and the most receptions so far this season, averaging 19 receptions over their first 2 games. So I think this is a great spot. You also if you look on the quarterback side, the guy throwing the wide receivers the balls, New England has allowed the most completions and the 4th most attempts so far this season. That's 27 completions on average per game over their first 2. So I think putting some sort of builder together for the Jets wide receivers, and receiving core could be an option here. I think Garrett Wilson at 4 receptions, you can get that minus 470. That's a nice builder leg.
Here's the one thing that I had in mind before we get to that, because I love Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
There's a 50% boost and there's a sweat free. So if I stay really conservative with Mike Williams and Hunter Henry, I think 3 receptions out of Henry, 1 out of Mike Williams. With the boost, you're at minus 110. So I think if you're trying to get crazy with your boost, don't listen to me. But if you want to try to sneak something with a very high probability and kind of sneak some units, getting almost even money with a 3 and 1 based on 1 reception for Mike Williams. If you go to the 2, you end up with like plus money real quick. But I mean, he had 8 receptions last game. That's going to come back to earth. But he's had 2 or more in 9 of the last 10, and he's got 3 or more in 6 of the last 10. And based on his usage of 7 and 8, and then 2 in that Cincinnati game, I think that was the outlier, not the 7 and 8. So I'm thinking I might just smack that.
So you're feeling the one. I see 1 Mike Williams reception on FanDuel minus 800.
Pretty expensive.
Yeah,
I like him for 2.
What about Lazard for 2 receptions at minus 350? That doesn't feel a little safer. I mean, you have 9 targets week 1, 4 targets week 2. It's got the connection with Rodgers.
That is true.
That was one of the legs I liked quite a bit. Allen Lazard, 2 receptions. He's done it in the first 2 games, and you could see 13 targets over the first 2 games. I thought that was a nice spot. Plus,
I guess there's that regression that scared me from that, but that's a plus money if you put him in there. So if you go 2 and 3, you get minus 127. So you're similar at a 2. I think I just like the one catch and then it's
The
over,
one.
you know, and then
Yeah.
you only have to up the other leg. So,
Yes.
I mean, it does make more sense from a payout. If you boost it, you get 118. So you're saving $28. If you go with 2 receptions over the 1. I'm going to run Mike just out of solidarity with him. I kind of want to do the 2 because at 160, you end up with plus 123 with no boost. So if Mike Williams ends up with 2 grabs, you're already plus money. If you boost it, you're like plus 185. So am I looking in the wrong space?
No, I think that's good. I think the passing game seems to be the place to target here. So I think that's
Yeah,
probably yeah. And you're right. I mean, I think week 1 kind of not seeing much action at all, ticking up in week 2. I think you see it again, though they are in short rest. I don't know if that factors into somebody like Mike Williams who has a injury history. I don't know. Do they limit him a little bit on the short week? I don't know. Let's see. Where else can we go in this game? I don't know. I
think
don't
Jalen
have.
Polk could be sneaky on the other side.
Dude, he was one of the guys. Yeah, he was one of the guys I wrote down when I was watching the games. I had Red Zone on last week, and I keep my little notebook, and I'm sitting in front of the TV watching, and he was one of the names that I jotted down to keep an eye on this week. So, what did you like for Polk?
Who's that third string receiver that came in for the Vikings after Justin Jefferson went out, and then he's got touchdowns back-to-back weeks. I just picked him up in fantasy. He's something I'll wait for the next show, but
Okay.
he's somebody I'm looking in like Jalen Polk. I feel like Jalen Polk's in a similar situation where he's starting to get targets. Obviously, he's a rookie, right? So I mean, you've got that first game. I think the targets and the snap count increased in game 2. He only had 2 receptions, but I think if you were looking for a Jalen Polk 2 receptions over a Mike Williams or a Allen Lazard, they're all priced similarly. So just to give you an example, if you pair the Hunter Henry 3+ with the Polk 2+, you're at plus 109 before you even boost anything.
Yeah, the reason I like this, I like Polk in this spot. So another little trend I picked up on is the Jets have allowed the 6th most air yards to wide receivers, and they've allowed if you put it per target, they've actually allowed the most air yards per target in the league so far at 15 air yards per target. You look at Polk 6 week 1, but 12 air yards week 2. So I think this could be a nice little sneaky spot. I agree. I was kind of feeling this as well. You like the receiving yards? That's where you were looking? Or the receptions?
Let's look at the receptions.
Receptions.
I think he gets the ball twice. Yeah. He's currently minus 210 for 2 receptions.
That's nice.
So if you were, you could go, here's something kind of crazy.
Ramondre
you just go
and Polk 2.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah.
What were you going
to Let me look at what's his reception. Hunter Henry, if you drop him down to 2 from 3. So just 2 and 2, you get minus 145 before the boost. If you go same team 2-2-2, plus 122. So that's Ramondre, Hunter Henry, and Jalen Polk. Now, I feel like going heavily on the passing game with his line being 29.5. He's only attempted 24 and 27 passes. That is Jacoby
Brissett.
So I think so I'm thinking we need 6 receptions. So that means we need 3 targets each to be safe. So that's 9 of his 20. His line is 29.5 at juice to the over, but he's only thrown this season 24 and 27 attempts. And so his completions have been 15 and 15. So if we need 6 completions out of 15, we're getting pretty close to 45% of his total completions. That's the only area where I'd be worried. But any of them at 2+, depending on who you like more, I'm cool with them.
I like. I just whipped up here Ramondre 2 and Polk 2. That's minus 112 on FanDuel. Just for those 2 guys, that feels good. Anything else on the New England side?
Nothing of note. Nothing I'm super excited about. The
All right.
passing yards are way, way low.
Yes.
Aaron's 211. He's 165. So it's got me a little worried about the distance that they can cover. They're both
Yeah.
projected well under 200. So I think it's just dump offs and short passes, which again is tight ends and running backs.
So that cues it up nicely. This is the play. If we're looking for, I haven't given out a ton of straight plays here. This might be the one I'm going to. Aaron Rodgers at 20.5. Like I mentioned before, New England's given up the most receptions to wide receivers. They've allowed the most completions to quarterbacks, the fourth most attempts to quarterbacks. If you look at Rodgers, week 1, he was 13 for 21. Week 2, 18 for 30. Quarterbacks against New England, like I said, 27 completions, averaging 36.5 attempts. But interestingly, they've allowed the 7th fewest yards per completion, which is why I'm leaning, even though this passing yard line is low at 213, it's been coming down to even 211 on FanDuel now. Even though that's low, you see he hasn't gotten there in quite a while. And I feel like, for the reasons you just said, some tight ends, some dump offs, some whatever, I think I'm leaning on his completions over the yards. So that would be, if we're looking for a straight play, 20.5, you can get it for even money on DraftKings plus 100 right here. This feels right. Like he's got a lot of options between Wilson, Hall, Lazard, Mike Williams. New England doesn't have an interception yet, so the don't have to worry about that. It feels like. So this would be my play on.
I like that.
On Rodgers. Yeah,
Nice.
he's got to get over there at some point. Over.
I found one other thing. Yeah, he's got to get over 200. He's not gotten to over 200 since he came back.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on this, and I think it's priced perfectly. But Brees Hall's longest rush is 15.5, and he's gone over, or 14.5, 15.5, and he's gone over in 5 straight. And he's played New England twice, and he's gone 50%, 1-1. So I know they have their, look at that 5 straight right there. He's gone over that 15.5.
13.5
yards
on
per attempt.
DraftKings. Look at the difference there. 15.5, 13.5.
Smash that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely, if that's still at 13.5, I'd go take that for sure. Just based on him being their offense and what he's been able to do the last 5 games. And those aren't like, he's got one at 16. The rest of those are like 30, 40, 50 yards. He breaks big ones all the time. So at a 13.5 at 130 that's smack level for me for sure. I'm like literally trying to pull it up right now as I'm rambling about it.
I do like that.
Before.
That's sneaky. I like that. The and just to note, if you want to pull up the ESPN run and pass rush win rates, New England has not been great stopping the run, 22nd overall in run stop win rate. So it could bode well for Mr. Hall to break one there, because New England has not been great at stopping the run.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm going to add that to the absolutely smack. And I think it's really just receptions and the longest rush for me. I'm not getting too cute with it. There's so much soccer. There's a huge MLS slate tonight. There's Champions League. I'm just going to make the, not force it, we'll hit something for the sweat free, because you gotta, right?
Yeah, don't force this game. It's Thursday. It's early in the season. It's play lightly. We see how these Thursday night games go over and over and over again. So I think that's the best of the bunch there. Those are the opportunities I see. And did you have anything for Champions League or anything you wanted to?
Yeah, I just dropped a play in the Discord. I just got Brees Hall at 13.5. So very, very stoked about that. It's on 365 or 365 still. Thank you. So today, the latest game is Man City and Inter Milan. So if you're not a soccer fan, the way the Champions League works is they play teams they don't often play. It's basically like the best of the best kind of coming in and playing each other. So you get a lot of matchups that are from leagues that wouldn't normally face each other. But Inter Milan in Italy plays a very defensive game. Manchester City with Erling Haaland, just all he does is score hat tricks, are coming out. So it could easily be a 1-0 game, but I think they'll get it. I think they'll get the chances. So I took a Haaland shot on target, and then I took PSG, Dortmund, and I took the Toronto Columbus Crew game tonight, all over 1.5, to build a beautiful little builder there. So we need just one shot on target from Erling Haaland, and then 2 goals in each of those games. That's in the soccer channel. And then KDB, Kevin De Bruyne, and Erling Haaland, if you take them both for 1 shot on target in that Milan game, you get an even money plus 100.
There you
And
go.
they don't have to score. They just has to be on target. And so for them to push, they're starting Rodri, which is like starting your best linebacker. They've got their midfield secured and ready to go for who they're facing. And they're going to be playing a lot of long balls from KDB to Erling Haaland. And if you don't know anything about soccer, watch that Man City game just in case, because Erling Haaland is fucking electric. And then Dortmund is a lot of fun too. So watch that. That's a game out of Germany. So there's a couple picks in the Discord if you want to get into soccer. Even if you don't like soccer, don't watch it. Just bet them, make the money.
Make the money. That's it.
And you'll fall in love with it. We've been converting people in the PTM Discord for a while now over to team soccer. So
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, short and sweet today. Remember, play lightly. This game scares me. So
yeah.
But thanks everyone. Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Get your bets in now. Always get some value. It's only Wednesday afternoon, so you got a full 24 plus hours before this game. So maybe you can lock in some value before those lines creep up a little bit. And we'll see you all back here on Friday for the big Sunday main slate podcast.
Hopefully Dave's recovered by then.
I hope so. We miss Dave over here.
Miss you, Dave.
All right. Nice work, Tim.
I'll talk to you.
Bye.